It is that time, ladies and gentlemen. We are looking at your Dynasty football trades on today's show.
Come on, baby.
All the trades you've made in the last week. Now, if you want your trades on this weekly show that we do, you want to show us your Dynasty trades and see us react in the video each week, then go ahead and use our promo code LAND. Sign up to the Flock Fantasy website. Make sure you choose that Mother Flocker tier and you are good to go. You will unlock that section in our Discord. And every week we'll be looking at your Dynasty trades. Check out that in the description. But the first trade today is from Mighty Booch. And there are 3 trades here.
Here we go.
The first trade, 12-team Superflex Start 10 PPR contender. So sends away Nick Chubb, gets Brian Robinson back. How do you feel about that one on a contender? Brian Robinson to me is a very replaceable running back, and that's concerning as I'm starting to see Washington kind of clean house.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Washington could not draft a running back next year and he still has his job, or they could. Like, either way, I could see that going either way. At the same time, though, we don't know what Nick Chubb will be after that injury.
I think that's the biggest thing. I'm not saying that I don't believe in Nick Chubb. I don't think he's going to be ready come. We say this all the time. Yeah. When somebody tears an ACL or has a significant injury, you kind of have to punt the year after. So yep. Nick Chubb already 27 years old. You assume he's going to turn 28 next year, obviously. And then the year after, he's 29.
You assume.
Yeah, you assume. You hope, that he just continues to age. So it's kind of like you might as well take a swing with Brian Robinson. And if he does have a good string of games, I mean, you have to, even though it hasn't been great the past couple of weeks, he's RB13 right now. And it's not sexy, but if he's just going to be this mid running back for you that is just a depth piece for at least for next year as well, Nick Chubb is not going to be a depth piece for you because it's hard to envision him coming back and being the Nick Chubb that we've seen. And we say it all the time. The same thing with Saquon, the same thing with Javonte. It was the same thing with Breece Hall. Well, Breece Hall is different, to be honest. He's been going crazy. But, the history with the running back is like, I think we might have to punt the next year.
Breece Hall was obviously younger when that injury occurred. Javonte was younger. And, you still had time on that rookie contract. And you still had not a lot of miles on the body. So, yeah, I think overall this trade makes a lot of sense for the Brian Robinson side. We just don't know what Nick Chubb will look like when he comes back or when that will be.
Agreed.
The next one is a 12-team Superflex, half PPR. I'm a bottom 4 team, let's say mid-2025 first. So gets Deontay Johnson in a mid-25 first. I think that is ideally how you would pivot off of a aging, star wide receiver. Getting a first-round pick and another wide receiver that you can still start in your flex.
Yeah.
So that's ideal right there.
This is ideal. I do like this trade.
Why is Davante still in a Packer
That's what
uniform?
I was literally about to say. And I went to go look it up. I was like, how old is this trade? Because I looked him up on Sleeper, and he has a Raiders jersey on.
Yeah, what the heck? That's strange.
Anyways, yes, I do like this trade. I'm happy for that first there.
Yeah, same. The third one is a 12-team, 1 quarterback. My team's trash or injured horribly. Mid-first and probably early second. Gonna move Ingram too. So let's look at that. So moves off of Mark Andrews. Gets Evan Ingram, who's in a Giants uniform.
Gosh.
So gets Evan Ingram a mid-first and an early second. And I don't think this is a tight end premium. It looks like there's no tight end premium. Wait, have my own picks and maybe could have gotten more for Andrews, but no tight end premium.
Right. Okay.
So,
that 24 first, I think.
How do you feel about that?
I would say I'm okay with this trade. Why? Because wherever that first is going to be, I'm okay with it. If it's a mid or late first round pick, I think that is a decent. I mean, that could be a Brock Bowers. That could be whoever it is in the middle of this draft. And I think you still have Evan Ingram, who has been playing decent. He has been a pillar to this offense. He's currently
long-term contract.
Yeah, long-term contract. He's currently a top 5 tight end as we are speaking, going through 9 weeks of the season. He's actually top 6, excuse me. And he's been getting work. He just got 14 or not? Was it 14 or 10 targets this past week with Trevor Lawrence? He is a pillar to this team. Long-term contract. You get it first. I'm okay with this.
This is a tough one because I don't really like trading Andrews in any dynasty leagues. But what I will say is, if you kind of put these guys' productions, if you did a blind reveal, right, and you didn't see the names, you put Evan Ingram's contract and his production on the right, Mark Andrews' contract and his production on the left, and then you add a mid-first and an early second to it, I think it becomes much more reasonable to see the value that Mighty Booch got here. If you're rebuilding, I understand Ingram's still a guy that you can start if you did a one-year punt, and maybe you do end up with Brock Bowers, but it's a good wide receiver class, so you can add some wide receivers. But the issue is, if you're trying to make this trade to draft a running back, at least at this moment, and we're going to start really diving into this class this weekend. We're going to be bringing you guys 2024 draft content soon. At the moment, though, I don't really see a running back that is going to be a smash in the first round of rookie drafts this year. So yeah, a lot of context there, but I don't mind it overall.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I don't mind it overall either. So
although it is a one quarterback, that makes it a little more tough to stomach. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard. I think you may have been able to get more, but I don't think you would have been able to get like two more first.
That's what I'm saying.
I think maybe that second could have been a first instead, but I don't think you could have gotten too much more.
That's what I'm saying. So you either get another second and you get rid of Evan Ingram. Like, I don't think you get Evan Ingram and 2 firsts in this trade.
Yeah, that's fair.
Personally, so.
Mighty Booch, next one here. This is the last one from her today. Thank you, Mighty Booch, for supporting. 12-team, 1 quarterback, start 9, no tight end premium lineup, and I'm bottom half of the league. So again, sends away in a tight end. Njoku this time for a second. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Not competing.
I think that
but
makes
Njoku's
sense.
starting to fire up.
Yep.
All right, next trades are from Beard Han. 2 trades within the last 3 days. Didn't have a tight end, but had a lot of running back depth. So he says pretty much traded E.T. Gibson in my second. Okay, so let's look at this. So Josh Reynolds and Ken Walker he receives. How do you do this? And he sends away Kirk and Gibson. How is that possible?
You love to see it.
I mean, congratulations. That's a huge discount on Ken Walker.
Yeah.
Maybe someone panicked after last week's game, but well done. That is a good trade for you. The other one receives Kirk and Mark Andrews as well as a second, sends away ETN in a second. I don't know if this is a tight end premium league or not. I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's not a tight end premium league, but man, that is truly concerning to lose ETN.
Well, if this is the same league, he does get Kenneth Walker. If it's the same league.
He does, but...
Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that.
No,
I'm not saying that I wouldn't want Travis Etienne.
The thing is, though, I prefer Etienne over Andrews. We don't know. At the moment, this does not look like a tight end premium based off what we've seen.
I would say
I don't
this.
know about that one.
I would say this. If this is the same league, I'm okay with it. Because you do pivot off of Travis Etienne, you do get Mark Andrews, and you get Kenneth Walker on dirt cheap. If it's not the same league, I'm really interested in who your running backs are. Kind of like what Zach was talking about earlier, this running back class doesn't seem to have the best talent, not somebody that we can 100% say is going to go into a workload like a Bijan Robinson last year, or someone like we hope like a Zach Charbonnet to go into a workload. I mean, we were wrong a lot last year in the running back room because they gave us the Ukadukes, all the NFL teams. But look, I'm okay with this trade. I don't think it's
if
terrible
it's a tight end
trade.
premium, I'm happy with it. But in a non-tight end premium, it's hard to find a tight end like Andrews. It's hard to find a running back like ETN. So
Yeah.
I can see the validity in both sides there for sure. All right, the next trade is from Zach. 12-team, 1 quarterback, full PPR, tight end premium. The 25 first should be early to mid since the guy started to rebuild. So he gets Olave, JSN, Kendre Miller, and a 2025 first. Sends away Henderson, Jefferson, and the second round pick. What do you think about this one here?
Man.
It's a tough one.
You know why this is tough? It's because of the quarterback. And I know that sounds crazy, and I say the quarterback of Justin Jefferson. I think Justin Jefferson is going to be quarterback proof. But we were talking about the quarterback being an issue for Justin next year, but it's already happening now. But the depth in this trade as well, and Chris Olave and Jackson Smith, Kendre Miller, if this is a long-term longevity type of deal with a 25 first, maybe I'm going with the depth here rather than the superstar.
I would say this, because I've had people reach out to me to acquire Justin Jefferson. I don't see any reason to sell Justin Jefferson personally.
I think you're selling him at his lowest point ever. Well,
right.
Maybe, before he broke out, obviously.
I would say that we all would agree that Justin Jefferson has had the best start to a wide receiver's career ever in the history of the NFL. And there's a chance, I'm not saying he will go down, but there's a chance that he will go down as the best wide receiver in NFL history. So I'm not really panic selling him. I don't view this as a panic sell. But what I would say is wherever that 25 first lands is really going to determine if you won or lost this deal. Mm-hmm. Also, I'd be curious to know what the format of your starting lineups are. I want to know how deep these starting lineups are. But just in general, I'm not panic selling Justin Jefferson. I mean, again, one of the best wide receivers we've ever seen in the game. And Kevin O'Connell, the system is perfect for him. So, yeah. Who's to say they don't bring Kirk Cousins back? Who's to say they don't?
Yeah.
It was working really well. They're on a 3-game win streak. Kirk Cousins was playing out of his mind. But anyway, I can see the value on both ends here. I don't think there's a clear winner or a clear loser. And ultimately, that probably means that it was a pretty fair trade.
Yeah, exactly. I'm okay with it.
All right. We have a question here from Kay. In Dynasty, should I trade away Zay Flowers and Gibbs for Lamb and Pierce and Singletary? No, absolutely not. I mean, Damien Pierce, not a guy that I've liked at all this offseason. I got some hate for it. I think most people are probably on the same page with me now that Damien Pierce is just a guy. I mean, we all agree, right? Damien Pierce is just a guy now? Or are people still holding out?
I don't believe he is just a guy. No, genuinely.
What more do you need to see?
Genuinely, it's not that. Yes, he's been inefficient and he has been very disappointing. I just think that this offensive scheme has completely erased him of being relevant.
Okay, my counterpoint is,
but I agree,
he's erased himself from being relevant.
Yeah, and I can't argue that. I can't argue that because he's been inefficient on the ground. I completely agree. I just don't think that this scheme truly shows his best abilities, which is unfortunate. So maybe he may be a guy in this offense as of right now. I would agree. I just think he could be of value as we've seen in the past, because of if you don't have a competent quarterback, but maybe that makes him just a guy. I would say this. I agree with the trade.
Yeah,
I agree with the trade.
I can't think of a scenario in which Damien Pierce truthers can now defend him, but here we are.
Yeah, well, I'm not defending him as in I'm not saying that, he's going to be a superstar and he should be this great person. I don't think he is just a guy.
If you had a really good RB1 in your dynasty team and Damien Pierce is your RB2, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm not feeling confident whatsoever.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying this new offense has really hindered Damien Pierce, unfortunately.
See, I understand the narrative, but I'm sorry, I don't believe it. If you're a good running back and the passing game should mean you are facing less stacked boxes as you were the year before.
And maybe
it should give you more opportunities. You should be more efficient with a healthier offense as a whole.
I agree.
I mean, I just don't buy the narrative that because they're throwing now, he's inefficient. That to me is the opposite. Now you have a balanced passing attack. The efficiency should be there on the ground. But anyway, I mean, maybe I'm just a Damien Pierce hater. Maybe
I'm not even saying. It's a long conversation. I would say this. It looks very bad for Damien Pierce. I'm not disagreeing there. I agree on this trade. I would rather have the Zay Flowers and Jahmyr Gibbs side. Because I don't.
It's not close for me, is what I was trying to convey. Like
Yes,
it's,
and
it's
I
clearly
agree.
Zay Flowers and Jahmyr Gibbs.
I completely agree. I'm agreeing on the trade. I'm just saying Damien Pierce is. I still believe if there's hope for him to still be fantasy relevant, maybe just not on this offense, unfortunately.
It's like the same way I think some people felt about Antonio Gibson before they drafted Brian Robinson. It's like, yeah, the end's in sight. Do you want to recognize it, or, do we want to? No, he'll still get chances. He'll still,
But if they threw Antonio
he's
Gibson
losing
the ball,
his job to Devin Singletary.
but if
look,
I think the other side there is like, well, if they just threw Antonio Gibson the ball, you saw how efficient he could be.
right. But I think eventually we were like, Antonio Gibson is just not that good of a running back, and that's okay.
Yeah, and
He's just not that good of a running back.
And maybe that's just me. But anyways, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not like crying for Damien Pierce saying that he's the best player ever.
I guess we just view it differently. I view Damien Pierce not as a dead asset, but I wouldn't send a second round pick for him.
No, and I wouldn't either.
That kind of leads me to believe he is a dead asset almost.
Yeah, and I once again, I'm not disagreeing. I wouldn't send a second. I don't like this trade. Damien Pierce is not somebody I want to invest in. I'm just saying specifically, I think this offensive scheme has significantly hurt him, and that's basically is my argument. But I understand your points as well.
Sure, I hear you. Rowan says 12-team, one quarterback league, start 9. Wide receivers are Chase, Olave, Smitty, JSN, Flowers, and London. A little chain reaction for Gibbs. Bought him while Monty was tearing up and sold him while Monty was hurt. Just going to keep adding stud wide receivers if this is the price.
Mm-hmm.
So, bought Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, was anyone selling him for this cheap, though? I mean, you got an incredible deal. I didn't think anyone was panicking like that.
Yeah, this is next level cheap. This is the person that just thought he was going to be nothing type vibe.
I think all of us probably would have accepted that, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I still want Jahmyr Gibbs top 12 pick in the NFL draft. Zach Charbonnet, second round. Was Roscoe a third round or fourth round pick? You have to go with the draft talent or the draft capital here. I mean, I don't think this person truly understands that.
I would still say that I expect Monty to take his role. Jahmyr Gibbs has earned more touches, and that might be frustrating for Gibbs owners. We'll find out if that's true or not. But even when Monty was dominating, I would have accepted this trade because you have another guy who's backing up Ken Walker here, just not as talented. And then he sends away Gibbs and gets CeeDee Lamb, which I think we both would also do that as well.
Agreed. I would definitely.
Yeah, we're pretty happy with that. Separate league, 10-team, Superflex, 1.5 tight and premium, start 9. Sent this one in the fancy hotline, and Zach basically called me an idiot for not auto accepting it. I don't think I've ever called someone an idiot in the fancy hotline. He
basically called. He's like, are you stupid? Not just.
But contending team, these prices help with receiver depth alongside A.J. Brown, Kupp, Puka, and Mike Evans. Seconds are both probably mid to late, but hard to project. Looking to grab a back-to-back in this league. So he gets Adam Thielen and Rashid Rice and sends away 2 seconds. So I probably said something along the lines of, absolutely, accept it right now. Don't think about it,
Yeah.
But I didn't call him an idiot. I just want to clarify. I don't want people to think the fancy hotline is an experience where I'm like, you're an idiot.
No,
what are you doing?
I think he said that in a joking matter, of course.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Look, I have Adam Thielen in a couple leagues, and oddly enough, those teams specifically, I'm not like above 500. I've been trying to sell Adam Thielen for some seconds to win now teams, and nobody wants him.
Well, I think in this deal you get Rashid Rice and Adam Thielen, which makes it more intriguing because Rashid Rice is kind of on the edge of first round valuation in as far as draft compensation goes. So not only do you get Rice for 2 seconds instead of a first, which I wouldn't pay a first right now as well, but you also get Adam Thielen kind of thrown in.
Look, and that's fair. I've been trying to stir up Adam Thielen in a couple of leagues, and everyone's like, I just don't want Adam Thielen. It's like, but I would
send a late second if I was contending and I needed help.
And and there's a couple of teams I was like, well, you have Justin Jefferson. He's not coming back. I mean, not coming back, but, he's injured. Or you have somebody that's not performing. You had Jahan Dotson because you drafted him thinking that he was performing. Like, you're winning now. Take Adam Thielen. But anyways, it's just my own frustration in some of the leagues that no one wants to take Adam Thielen.
We would call that a no-brainer smash accept, right?
Yeah, agreed.
The last trade of the day is from Wid Murder. 12-team Superflex start 10, 1.5 PPR for running backs and tight ends. Which, I understand the concept, but I feel like that just makes running backs a little bit overpowered. If you have like an Eckler or a Kamara, hey.
I agree.
But this monster deal was made on Saturday. My team is a 1-year punt, likely to be the 102 or 101. The second is from a 1-6 team. I felt like betting on Olave, JSN, Cook, and Stroud was a solid offer for a wide receiver 1. Let's have a look here. So there's a 3-way. So someone got T. Higgins for James Cook, which is, by the way, incredible deal there.
Great.
But he gets James Cook, Olave, JSN, Stroud in a second. Sends away Bryce Young, T. Higgins, and Justin Jefferson. I'll say this. I love CJ Stroud. I love JSN. You guys know I backed JSN all year. And I love Chris Olave. But to me, this feels like giving up on Bryce Young too early. I don't know if you feel the same way. Maybe you see this differently. But Justin Jefferson, I can't lose Justin Jefferson in this deal. And I understand the value that you got in return with Olave. But James Cook in a second, like that's not enough for me to lose. Like they don't tip the scale when I'm losing a name like Justin Jefferson. And I don't think, in my personal opinion, moving on from Bryce Young this early for the early returns on CJ Stroud is something that I would personally do. Doesn't mean that it's right or wrong. It's just I would have probably still ridden it out with Higgins, who is a buy low right now, with Jefferson, who I view as a buy low right now, and Bryce, who, again, I view as a buy low right now. I think you're buying Stroud at not his peak, but everyone wants Stroud right now, right? So, yeah, that's just my personal opinion on it.
Yeah, this one's interesting because basically, if I'm understanding correctly, you would rather have Bryce Young over Stroud?
I didn't say that.
Okay, we
just did our quarterback rankings. I got Stroud over Bryce Young.
Well, that's why I was a bit confused because I do think like those guys cancel out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying.
Okay, that's what I guess maybe the way I was understanding it kind of felt like you were saying you wanted Bryce Young over Stroud. That's why I asked the question because I knew we just did the quarterback.
No, I prefer CJ Stroud, but it's not like I'm going to send a lot to get CJ Stroud when I send away Bryce Young.
And that makes sense. And that makes sense because I do see that as canceling out. And then when I look at this trade with Chris Olave and Jackson Smith and Jigba, and you think of Justin Jefferson, I think Justin Jefferson alone is worth Olave, Jackson Smith, and more when you really think about it. And as much as I love James Cook, I think he is of value in a 1.5 point premium here. So I'm not saying it's completely irrelevant, but still, Justin Jefferson, a huge pillar, wide receiver 1 in Dynasty, of course. I think getting Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, and Bryce Young and CJ Stroud canceling out, I think I would say this. I am not upset at the trade. I am not saying that this trade is awful. I am not saying that this trade, you shouldn't have done this trade. I'm saying that as much as I love James Cook, could James Cook have been somebody else? I'm thinking of a more, even if it was a wide receiver, right? Like even if it was a young wide receiver that you can, if let's say that was Hollywood Brown, right? Like a George Pickens, or I doubt you can get a Zay Flowers, but like somebody along those lines that feels a little bit better than James Cook because of the longevity you can have with him, with those players on your team. That's how, what if it was like a Rashid Rice? No. I'm just saying, like, I'm just thinking like out loud, right? I think those are some people that I would be like, okay, let's have a conversation. But James Cook doesn't like move the needle for me as much as I love him. Unfortunately,
I thought you said Rashid Shaheed. Rashid Rice.
No, not Rashid Shaheed. I said Rashid Rice. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I know. I'm trying to think through
George
it. I don't know.
Pickens, Rashid Shaheed. Maybe even
Rashid Rice.
Yeah, Rashid Rice. Sorry, now you have me saying Rashid Shaheed. Rashid Rice, Jahan Dotson. We still believe in. What if that was a Jerry Jeudy? I'm thinking of those.
I'm out on Judy.
Okay, I'm thinking of those type of names that like I can still build off of.
Yeah.
Down the road, outside of James Cook.
To me, I think the fundamental issue I have with the trade is I feel like you do this trade to upgrade from Bryce Young to CJ Stroud, and I don't think that upgrade, which it is an upgrade right now, right? But it's not enough for me to downgrade from Justin Jefferson.
Right.
And I feel like it's selling Higgins at the wrong time. I think he'll be great rest of the year. It's selling Jefferson at the wrong time, you know?
Yeah, I agree there.
Again, I could be completely wrong. Maybe Bryce Young does bust, but we're not ready to give up on Bryce Young, not 8 weeks into his career. So, yeah. Again, like Badaki kind of said, I'm not saying it's an awful deal. I just fundamentally don't like the idea of I'm justifying the trade because I'm getting CJ Stroud instead of Bryce Young. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely agree.
So that is it for today, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below. If you've made a trade, let someone know in the comments below what trade you've made, and go ahead and reply to each other, and let's help each other out in the comments section. But that is it for today. We appreciate y'all, and we'll see you in the next one. All love. Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy, even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.